want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. Two men were sentenced yesterday for their roles in the submission of fraudulent loan applications seeking more than 1.7 million in forgivable paycheck protection programs or PPP loan guaranteed by Small Business Administration or the SBA under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities or the CARES Act. Izat Frittrick, age 57, of Waxhaw, North Carolina, was sentenced to 4 years in prison, and his son, Tariq Frittrick, age 35, whose last known residence was in Glendale, California, was sentenced to 87 months in prison. The government previously seized and secured the forfeiture of approximately 1.3 million in PPP funds illegally obtained by the Frittricks, which has been returned to a victim lender. According to court documents and evidence presented at trial, Izat and Tariq obtained approximately 1.7 million by submitting multiple fraudulent PPP loan applications for companies owned by Frittrick Sr., La Shish Kebab, La Shish Kebab Catering, Green Apple Catering, and Aroma Packaging. The loan applications misrepresented the number of employees and payroll expenses. After obtaining the fraudulent loan, the father and son duo engaged in unlawful monetary transactions with the proceeds of the scheme, including making $30,000 in payments to family members. In March of 2022, a federal jury in the Western District of North Carolina convicted the father and son of money laundering and other offenses. The fraud section leads the criminal division prosecution of fraud schemes that exploit the PPP. Since the inception of the CARES Act, the fraud section has prosecuted over 192 defendants in more than 121 criminal cases and has seized over 78 million in cash proceeds derived from fraudulently obtaining PPP funds, as well as numerous real estate properties and luxury items purchased with such proceeds. In May of 2021, the Attorney General established the COVID-19 Fraud Enforcement Task Force to marshal the resources of the Department of Justice in partnership with agencies across the government to enhance efforts to combat and prevent pandemic-related fraud. The task force bolstered enforcement to investigate and prosecute the most culpable domestic and international criminal actors and assistant agents tasked with administrating relief programs to prevent fraud by augmenting and incorporating existing coordination mechanisms, identifying resources and techniques to uncover fraudulent actors and their schemes, and sharing the and harnessing information and insight gained from prior enforcement efforts. Now, during the era of the PPP loan and how everything was taking place and how a lot of people were just flashing money, acting like they was living big, living rich, and people just wanted to show off how good they were living on social media, I stated to people, don't be stupid. If you decide, and note, I just want to note to people, this is not me condoning any type of wrong behavior, trying to defraud the government, anything like this. But I told people, if you decide that you want to do things like this, why would you want to put it directly on social media, which is forever? The government watches social media. The government gave you the internet for you to decide that, hey, I got anonymity behind this. They can't do nothing. Can't nobody touch me. I'm about to sit up there and be showing racks on racks on racks, on stacks on stacks on stacks. And you're going to decide to just out of nowhere just start buying stuff that you normally couldn't sit up there and afford. And you want to start showboating, and you want to start stunting on a lot of people. Ooh, I told people, like, yo, whatever happens is whatever happens. If the government does whatever they want to do to you, it is what it is, because you decided to play a stupid game and you won a very stupid prize. So you got a lot of people that are in prison and or jail right now for fraudulent activity, for money laundering, because that's exactly what it is. You should not have done this at all. The money was to go out there and help people who are entrepreneurs, people who got small businesses or moderately large businesses, people who work from home. But A lot of y'all decided that, hey, they don't really need that money. I need it more than them. This is what happens when greed takes place. And I knew that this was going to take place as soon as I saw the amount of money that they stated that they were going to give out to a lot of these organizations. Now, this is the funny part, though. The funniest thing is nobody's realistically checking the larger companies and seeing if they overly extended on the amount of money that they decided to try to acquire from the government. That's the real thing right there. Look at the main ones that are the glowing factors, the main ones that people can see. These big corporations. The governments aren't going to look at them because they're like, well, their numbers are more than likely correct. They have a lot of expenditures, this, that, and the third. So they're going to overlook it and throw it to the side. Because even if they're off by a little bit, which is technically for us, it will be a lot. And I'm talking about like millions of dollars or maybe hundreds of millions of dollars. They're like, it's whatever it is, we'll get that back in taxes, yada, yada, yada. Right. But when it comes to everyday people trying to quote unquote get a leg up, right? And trying to make something quote unquote from nothing, they're going to prosecute you the hardest to give an example. And I keep telling people this, they're not going to prosecute the larger corporations, the big dogs. They're not going to do that. $1 billion corporations who money launder, who do fraudulent activity, who are connected to a lot of unsavory things that the public doesn't know about. They're not going to go directly after those corporations because the government is in bed with a lot of those corporations. So why would they, go after somebody that they're sleeping with? So they're going to go after somebody who has nothing to do with nothing, which is ordinary people, which is what you clearly see here. But like I said, this is not me feeling sorry for people committing these acts. Like I said before, there's a lot of ways to get money out here legally, and people decided to do it the illegal way. Or, like I said, I don't know what to tell people. I don't feel sorry for people who got caught up in this because I gave a warning to people a long time ago, back when this was in the midst of all of this happening. I literally put up a video of a rapper talking about how him and his guy were sitting up here scheming and doing fraudulent activities and laundering money and flashing that same money in a music video. In a music, out of all things that you can do, you made a rap video about it, showing the computer, showing all the things that you're doing, literally rapping about that life. And this is when people basically stated that a lot of rappers out here are stupid because your lyrics can be used to technically indict you. And like I said before, you got some people that are just too smart for their own good. Some people, even though you got a lot of people out here that are geniuses, they can still be stupid and dummies at the same time. And that's exactly what this looks like with the PPP loans and a lot of the people who decided to get greedy because they thought that they had some connections and knew some people. They linked them up and da 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 and did all the paperwork. But the craziest part is this, though. It's funny how these people who the government more than likely knew did not have these businesses and all these other things, they were able to get this money like that. But actual business owners and other individuals who really, 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 really needed this money, they weren't able to obtain a cent. It's crazy. It's crazy. And as I stated to people before, people always wonder why it is that you have people who never have a record turn to a life of crime. It's because of stuff like that. Because it only seems profitable when people, go about things in a legal way and they can tend to profit and get the maximum amount of money. But when you're doing everything right, everything correct, nothing actually benefits you. You have to strive, struggle, sacrifice everything in order to rub 2 cents together to even start a spark or to even capture light. But somebody who is just of the criminal element and knows, a couple of plugs here and there, can get some documents changed and all this other type of stuff to make it seem official, they can just get millions of dollars, racks on racks on racks. Like I said, when you really look at America, it seems that America is only here to benefit the criminals and to penalize the people who decide to do things the right way.